for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samyukta. I am from Pratham. That's a not-for-profit organization based in India and working in different parts of India through the 3 to 14-year age group and in other parts of the world. I'm very happy to be here, and my regards and respect to all my colleagues, dignitaries, ministers, professors, and of course my friends, all my teachers. Very happy to be here. Today I will be talking about the early years. So I'm part of the early years team back in India, where we look at both preschool education as well as education in grades 1 and 2. So together we look at the 3 to 8 year age group as the early years. And that's what I will be talking about a little more. In the morning today, we heard a little bit around this in the round table about the importance of preschool education. And I think many of you know this, but let's just look at it once more together, just to appreciate how important it is to work at the foundational level, to work when children come into preschools and schools. One of the first things we have learned with global research today is that more than 90% brain development takes place in the early years. And what does this mean? This means not just the size of the brain, but neural connections in the brain are forming very, very rapidly at this age. So if we do not leverage it, if we do not use it, it's going to prune, it's going to fall off. And so this is a very critical period in the lifespan of the child that all of us need to pay attention to in a big way. This research is stimulating a lot of work in the early years. It is happening back in India, it's happening in different countries, at the world level, and of course in Morocco also. I know that there are many initiatives being taken to ensure that preschool education is as strong as it can be. The other thing that we know is that investing in quality early childhood education yields high returns. So today in the morning, I was listening to a fellow panelist, and they said if you invest in a child, you'll probably get 17 dirhams back per child. So that's it's a quantity that someone put, it's a number that someone put. But what does this number mean? We need to understand that better. So imagine that you have a child who's going to a quality preschool. He or she is getting exposure and learning well. His or her mother, father are working. They are able to focus on what they have to do. And then over time, if the quality of preschool education is good, then this child is going to be curious and motivated to go to school every day. She will not drop out. There will be no grade repetition. You will not need remedial education. And she will probably be employed in a good organization. She will have a good job. And so what this means for the government is that the government, if they invest well here, they need to invest less and less, because the productivity of this child is growing. This child is giving back to society, right? Whether in school or whether through the job, the productivity is such that actually the children who have become grown-ups and youth are actually supporting the government in everything that they want to do. So this point, Heckman in his equation says that the more you invest in the early years, the better or further your returns in the later years. And so another reason to really look at what this early years of 3 to 8 years is about. All-round or holistic development, very important at this age, which means don't just look at language and math, look at all-round development, the overall well-being of the child. Physical, cognitive, socio-emotional, language, creative. It's a whole breadth of skills that we need to focus on. Why? Because if you don't focus on all of this, then the children, when they come to class, if social development is not in place, if this discipline is not in place, the children will not know how to interact with other children. If children cannot listen, then they cannot follow the instructions being taught. Then how will they learn how to focus on a script tomorrow? Right? So overall development of breadth of skills, extremely important here, just to ensure that later academic learning can be very foundational and strong for the young child. This is the continuum that we talk about again and again, and as you can see from this arrow, this whole continuum is from the 0 to 8 years age group. And every period here is extremely critical. Remember, we talked about brain development. This brain development is happening here, and therefore every period, let's say between 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 8, it's extremely critical, which means use this time really well. It will pay off in the later age group. The other thing to remember is the transitions. Children are moving from no school to going into school. They're first going into preschool, then they are going into grade 1. And so all these transitions are so important for the child that we need to keep it in mind. One more thing that we always say for the early years, we say we must use a no hurry, no delay approach. What that means is, don't be in a hurry to complete your syllabus. Oh my God, my child needs to know everything by now, okay? No hurry. But don't delay it. Say, oh, there's enough time. There's 14 more years. There's like 10 more years of school. Let's do it later. No. So no hurry, no delay. Go with the child through the year. That means that you need to work with the child throughout the year, but don't be in a hurry to achieve everything that the child will anyway learn later. This is very important because you may be aware of the teaching at the right level approach. I know that it is being used here with the government with older children. We do not use the teaching at the right level approach with young children because we have time here. Teaching at the right level is for older children because children have not learned what they should have. And so in grades 4 and 5, you want to do something quickly so that children can cope with what is happening in class. At this age, children don't need to catch up. They need to leap forward. We need to make the foundations really strong so that they can leap forward. And so there is no hurry here. There's a big focus, and this is not tall. Let's move to the next slide here, something that all of us here know. The child is at the center of everything that we do. We have the teacher, we have preschool teachers, we have grades 1 and 2 teachers, we have mothers, because the children come home to the parent, the community, the mothers, the grandmothers, and we have the content, everything that's in your class, all the materials, all the storybooks, all the manipulatives that can be used. And so in the child's ecosystem, we have all of this happening at the same time. And so we believe at Pratham that we need to partner with all of them. We need to partner with those in class, and we need to partner with those in the community. And it's only with this partnership that we can move forward for this young child. So how do we partner? How do we partner with the education system or the teachers? So we believe in the 5 M's, which means that we need to partner with the entire government system so that the teacher can do a really good job in class. And how do we make sure that that happens? In the entire system, when we work at scale, we know there are thousands of teachers. And then there are supervisors and directors and trainers. And we feel that working with supervisors and directors and trainers and basically the system is crucial to support the teacher who's teaching in class. These supervisors need to become what we call leaders of practice. So in any country that we work, we say that if there is a layer that is going to train teachers, they must practice things themselves. So if I give you a script, you might forget what to train on. But if you have actually experienced how it is to teach young children, then you will not make a mistake while training, because you know how difficult it is to work with young children. Later also we find that supporting the teachers, the mentoring and the review therefore becomes much easier because this layer has already practiced what was required. And so using simple measurement which can inform the teacher as to what needs to be done, learning very quickly and moving forward on that, creating leaders of practice, having the no hurry, no delay approach, and also creating materials so that sometimes if there are no materials, that cannot be the excuse to say, oh, I can't teach because I don't have any materials. You will always have materials around you. Parents do this a lot. They use things at home. So you can also use things in class, in the garden, outside in the building, in someone's home. So use materials that are low cost and can be used in multiple ways. And so the 5 M's, we think that to help with classroom teaching learning can be very, very useful. Now let's go to our other partnership, which is in the community. How do we partner with mothers and parents in the community? Typically, what we find is that children are there in class and then they go home. And when they go home, they are with their mothers, fathers, grandparents. And so we encourage mothers to form groups, and we say that they can really help the children at home. Even if they are doing daily activities, they can use, for example, if I'm playing with the child, I ask the child to bring something from somewhere. If the child has finished playing, you ask the child to put everything together. If we are laying the table, I ask my child, bring me 3 plates, keep it here, and tell me how many glasses will I need if I'm going to have 3 people eating today. So giving simple examples to parents that they can use at home as well, and getting mothers to form groups so that they learn from each other for their child's learning. Sending WhatsApp and SMS messages on the phone. I saw this in a school in Rabat. Teachers have created a WhatsApp group and they send messages to mothers on what they can do. Send them simple activities. Have workshops for parents. Often parents have many questions. And so we can answer many of these questions through workshops. Not just saying, okay, let me tell you what your child can do, but also having workshops on what parents want to know. Sometimes they want to know about child safety. They want to know about digital equipment, so we can have workshops for that. And we also do what we call a school readiness mela in the community. So melas are like fairs in the community where everyone comes together. So imagine a village, and there's a big fair going on. So in a fair, people come, they play some games, they eat something, children and parents are having a good time. So we use this concept of a fair to open out what is learning in the early years. And I'll give you an example of this. So for example, if we look at the screen, you have a mother and a child who's going to enter grade 1 come into this fair. She comes at the start of the mela, she's given a report card, she's told that you have to go to every counter, and every counter is a discipline. Every counter there's a booth for cognitive development, there's a booth for language development. And so the mother and child go to each booth. And when they go to the booth, the volunteer at the table, the volunteers are all from that village. So the volunteer at that table says, can you walk on a straight line? Can you walk on a zigzag line? And so the mother is watching her child while seeing whether these children can actually do it. Then she goes to the table on language development, and the volunteer says, what's your name? Where do you stay? Can you tell me your full name? Not just what you're called at home. Can you tell me your exact address? Then they go to the cognitive development booth where they're asked to sort out. And you could sort out anything. You could have potatoes and onions and you could sort it out. You could have flowers and leaves and you could ask her to sort it out. And so then like this you go to every booth. And then towards the end of the mela, the volunteer who's from that village explains what is your child able to do well, what is it we should do together when they are at home. Teachers in the community, in the village also help to set up the fair. So the teacher gets to know what they can do with the children, and the parent also gets to know what they can do with the children. So I'm going to play a short video now, and I hope that this example that I gave you, you will be able to appreciate it better when I play this video for you. Thank you. So that was an example of a school readiness fair that we do back home, but we can do it anywhere. We can do it in any village. We can all we need is to get all the volunteers in that area. We get a space. The space could be a school. It could be outside the school. We get the preschool teachers. We get the school teachers, but you also have retired people in the village. We need people to volunteer their time and to partner with the community. Not too much cost, but let's open out what is learning in the early years. That's the whole focus. Because often people think, oh, they need to study, they have to take their exams. That's not the case with young children. We are learning through play, so let's play and show you how children learn as a result. So that's an example that we use, but I think we can use it here as well. I think you have some amazing schools and some amazing teachers who are right here, and I think all of you can actually bring this to life. Having done the fair, we use it to actually get the mothers together. We talk to parents and we say you can do something with the children, and we send them a message on their phones so that they follow what needs to be done. Why? We get them in groups. We get them in mothers' groups. Why mothers' groups? Because mothers are often motivated by other mothers. They sit in the group and they listen to what others are saying. When they are alone at home, they are lonely. But if you sit in a group even for half an hour, you have some good fun, you have great chats, and you also get this message on the phone that everyone together understands. And the message is generally around some things to keep in mind for young children for their health and nutrition, but also for what you can do for the learning of your children at home. Often the groups create materials in those groups. So every week they try to meet, read the message, and then do something with children at home. And so I come to the last part of my partnership. So there's a partnership with the teachers and school systems, there's a partnership with mothers and with community members, and there is this partnership with our content. For all those content creators out there, I think the kind of content that we create, the stories that we share, the pictures we share, need to be inclusive. They need to represent everyone that the child sees around him or her. If we have children from somewhere else, children will say, that doesn't look like my friend. So she needs to be able to connect with who she sees around her. We also need to make sure that in the examples that teachers give, in the materials that children use, we have a gender-responsive approach. Inadvertently, we don't want to promote stereotypes. We want to give the message that everyone can do everything. And so there is a huge need to make good friends with the content that we create, to make sure that children understand that we all may look different, but we are equal, right? We may be diverse, but we can work together. So that's the message that we need to give children today for a better tomorrow. And so the focus on content becomes extremely important. The last thing I just want to focus on, there's this famous saying that in many parts of the world, we say it takes a village to raise a child. So the reason I'm talking about partnerships here is because I think it's not just the work of one person. It is the work of everyone together. And yesterday someone asked me, what is your, here at the stall, someone asked me, what's your philosophy? And I said, my philosophy is, my belief is that all children can learn. And it is the right of every child to learn. And it is the responsibility of us adults to make sure that children can learn, right? So how do we do that? If we are alone, if I as a teacher think only I can do it, or if the parents say, oh my God, now if this child doesn't do well, it's my child, what will happen? Then it becomes a lot of pressure. But if we think like this, that it takes a village to raise a child, then I feel that whether it's teachers and parents and community members and grandparents, we can all come together to make sure that the foundations of our young children are established for life. So then no matter what building you build, it's not going to fall. So that's why I say it takes a village to raise a child, and we can do it together. Thank you.